Unsolved.
Zodiac killer case, Howard Gordon. According to Howard Gordon, he was having an affair with Darlene Ferrin just before the time that she was murdered. I think he said 6 months before. But he was also having an affair with other women. And so this episode is going to go into a lot of people connected in the same circle as Howard Gordon. Now, according to this September 7th, 1970 newspaper article, Howard Gordon and 2 other officers were dismissed from the police force for statutory rape involving a 15-year-old girl. From this news story, you can kind of see that the Vallejo Police Department was having all kinds of problems. So some people believe that the Zodiac killer might have been a police officer that was dismissed from the force. And then there's also the possibility that the first murder on Lake Herman Road was to cover up a intended target and making it look like a serial killer or a different kind of murder situation. Now, according to this September 18th, 1970 newspaper account, a 4th officer is dismissed over misconduct with the same girl. And notice that Howard Gordon is 28 and the 3 others are 27. Now, in this newspaper article from January 12th, 1971, Howard Gordon is arrested for investigation of assault with a deadly weapon for shooting Nikola Golovich. Now, it's my point of view to find the Zodiac killer. It's going to be somebody not on the radar, somebody that hasn't already been mentioned. You're going to have to investigate and find somebody new. So at this point, I'm going to introduce 3 people. We have Nikola Golovich, 22, Patrick Joseph Mulkern, 23, and Catherine Mulkern. Now, Nikola graduated from Hogan High School in 1968 at the age of 20. Now, Patrick Mulkern was a member of the class of 1965 at Hogan High School, the same class that Darlene was a graduate of. Now, after Nick's junior year in high school, he was involved in during the summer, he was involved in some kind of car accident with 2 girls in the area of Kelseyville, California. And you can see from this newspaper account that he was 19 years old. Now, in July of 1970, Nikola Golovich married Catherine Mulkern. And that's the woman that Howard Gordon supposedly attacked, that caused the fight and caused Gordon to shoot Nikola. Now, Catherine Mulkern seems to have had a crazy and abusive life. And so this article here talks about Charles Lewis, 24. And when Catherine was in the car with him, she jumped out before the car went off a cliff. And here on July 25th, 1974, she's hit by a vehicle. And here, July 7th, 1977, she's nearly stabbed to death in Sacramento. Nevertheless, Catherine lived to age 62, and she was remembered as enjoying reading her Bible. Now, according to this newspaper article from March 19th, 1974, Nikola was arraigned for sexual assault on a 23-year-old woman. And then in July of 1975, Nikola and Catherine got divorced. In 1987, 500 people were evacuated from the town of Doris, California, when a truck overturned, spilling 5,000 gallons of wood preservative, and the driver of that truck was Nikola. Now, returning to Howard Gordon, his first marriage was to Dorothy Barker, and that was from 1963 to January 1970. And then he married, get a load of this, he married Mary Mulkern, Catherine's sister. And that took place in 1971. And here's a look at her senior high school picture from Hogan High School in 1967. And Catherine was 1 year younger, and she was the class of 1968. Now, Howard Gordon and Mary Mulkern, they divorced in March of 1974. Now, I wish I could keep continuing on with this video, but I've kind of run out of time. So in closing, here's a photograph of Patrick in his sophomore year in high school in 1963 compared to the Zodiac killer in 1969. The only other thing that I found out about Patrick is that he died on April 8th, 1993. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and there's definitely more people to investigate here. So I'll see you the next time. See ya.